Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2931 Star Clan Intelligent Entities, for example, they obtained the Drukian flesh and blood crystal core within the wild puppet's body. The creation of this thing could be as simple as cultivating the body of a Drucker and using it as an energy core. It contains very advanced technology. If we take it back to study, it will be of great value. After Zhang Yi and his team entered the central area, several other teams followed suit and ventured deeper into the heart of the experimental planet. For example, the people of the Holy See, the allied forces of Manchi and Hulan, Wang Lai of the Tyrannosaurus clan and Gaia of the Teeth clan, the symbiotic clan with strong survival abilities, the superintelligent clan that has developed mechanical civilization to a very high level, the three-headed clan that formed an alliance with Barada, and other alliance organizations of the six humans. They are about to access the most core secrets of the. However, not every team has someone like Yang Xinshin. Yang Xinshin, a Black Knight-level expert, excels in the rule-based domain and is particularly proficient in data networks. Just breaking through the defenses of the core domain is enough to give them a major headache. Yang Xinshin has created a data tunnel that can bypass the central system of the experimental star and reach its core area directly. Warnings from their central nervous system rang in their ears, urging them to immediately move away. But to Zhang Yi and the others, this was nothing more than a death throes. Because if it had any other means, it would have taken direct action long ago. They didn't know how long it took them to traverse the vast expanse of data streams and finally arrive at the core of the experimental star. Here, they saw the core of the central system that controlled everything, a silver Rubik's Cube about 1 meter long. The initial and final points of the data stream are both located here. Yang Xinshin looked at the Rubik's Cube and said, "This contains everything we want to know." Fatty Sue said with some concern, "This thing looks a bit scary. Could it be some kind of super bomb? Will it just self-destruct in a minute and kill us all?" Perhaps it was because he was nearing the finish line that he felt a sense of reality. Yang Xinshin said calmly, "Yes, if it could do that, it would have already self-destructed from the beginning." Fatty Sue asked, puzzled, "Why?" Yang Xinshin said, "Because its program does not have this self-destruct program. Machines don't possess true feelings. They simply operate according to the programs set by programmers. If these intelligent systems really do choose to self-destruct, then when the entire Star Clan is destroyed they will have already chosen to destroy themselves and will wait for to appear. Since their owner is gone, what are they trying to prove by destroying themselves? It's meaningless. Moreover, when the Star Clan built this experimental field, they probably didn't foresee that possibility, right?" Zhang Yi said, "Back then, the Star Clan of the first generation could overwhelm the Druk people, while the Ihan clan emerged from seclusion, and there was no one else in the entire universe who could rival them. How could they possibly add such a complex self-destruct device to an experimental site?" After Zhang Yi finished speaking, a wisp of silver, somewhat mesmerizing light slowly emerged from the silver Rubik's Cube. The scattered lights gathered in front of Zhang Yi and the others, and surprisingly transformed into a figure. It was the appearance of a boy, with a pair of pure white wings on his back. He was not wearing any clothes, and his clean, fair face was expressionless. As soon as he appeared, he said to Zhang Yi and the others in an extremely calm tone, "This core area is off-limits to anyone without permission. You have violated Article 986, Section 3658 of the Star Clan Charter." Luo Qiao walked over, spread his hands, and said, "I'm sorry, my friend, but your so-called Star Clan has already disappeared into the long river of the universe. Now you are ownerless, and this place has been breached by us, so we hope you will put up a futile resistance." The humanoid experimental star's control center AI remained silent for a moment before continuing, "You are the 846th group of other advanced intelligent beings who have invaded this place out of these 230 million. All the alien races that came here before perished deep within the starry sky corridor, but you will be an exception. So turn back now while you still can, and you might save your life. Zhang Yi's eyes showed some surprise. Thinking back to the past, there were so many intelligent beings who ventured into the depths of the star corridor to explore. Perhaps it was during that time that the original ancestor of the land by the river obtained some fragmented information from the land and passed it down. Zhang Yi asked, "What will we encounter if we continue on our way?" "You will," the boy said without hesitation. "The very factor that led to the destruction of the entire Star Clan will ultimately destroy you. So it's best to leave this place and forever delve deeper into it." Zhang Yi smiled helplessly and spread his hands, saying, "But it was a program set by the masters of your tribe that caused this star corridor to collide with our habitat. Even if we wanted to leave, we could just leave." The intelligent agent in the central control system of the experimental satellite clearly accessed such high-level commands as, in reality, for it, the entire world is a starry corridor, and it has no idea what is happening in the outside world. It remained silent for a moment before saying, "But in that case, you should continue to the deepest part of the starry sky corridor." "What is at the very bottom of the starry sky corridor that you mentioned? Could you explain it to us in detail?" Zhang Yi spoke as if he were coaxing a child. The intelligent agent coldly stated, "You do not have permission to unlock the problem." Zhang Yi sighed. He realized that the artificial intelligence in front of him did not possess any offensive capabilities. It was merely a central processing unit. Zhang Yi gestured to Yang Xinxin. "The rest is up to you." Yang Xinxin stepped forward, raised her hand, and a black mist appeared behind her, summoning the fallen puppet. He held the longbow of judgment in his hand, and a jet-black meme arrow was already knocked on the bowstring. The AI calmly replied, "It's useless. Your attacks on me will have no effect whatsoever. Moreover, although I possess any offensive capabilities, I can activate the planet's ultimate defense mechanism. At that time, all of you will be buried here." Before he could finish speaking, Yang Xinxin had already released her arrow. The meme arrow pierced through his illusory spirit body and shot directly into the silver Rubik's Cube. Without a sound, the demon quickly became completely quiet. Chapter 2932 Gathering of Heroes. The intelligent entity simulated by the Rubik's Cube computing system slowly lowered its head towards Yang Xinxin. "Honorable lady, you have obtained the highest authorization for the hyperdimensional Rubik's Cube. You can access any information you wish to consult." Yang Xinxin asked first, "Is there any way to control those desolate puppets and stop them from attacking all living beings indiscriminately?" The intelligent entity replied, "Those Type 1 Aragu can only be controlled by their superior Aragu. Even I cannot command them to do anything." Yang Xinxin frowned. "So, if we want to pilot our spaceship out of this star system, how can we avoid being attacked by those desolate puppets?" The intelligent entity replied, "On the experimental planet, there is an experimental device created to prevent a type of absurd puppet uprising. It can guide it by emitting special biowaves. If you want to leave in your spaceship, you can first lure them in the opposite direction." Zhang Yi and his team finally breathed a sigh of relief. "In this way, they can use the Dreamer to leave the experimental planet's area and then continue to the depths of the star corridor to reunite with the White Dragon and the others. But at this moment," Gibi said, "but right now, you have other troubles to face." "That was before, when I took the final defensive measure to wipe out all the invading advanced intelligent life forms on this planet. That's the release of the Type 8 Aragu, codenamed Gadon, sealed within the planet." Upon hearing Zibitai's words, the group, who had been quite relaxed, suddenly froze. Type Araku, they could hardly believe what they were hearing, even as a mere wild puppet. Its very appearance was enough to cause immense trouble for powerful knights. Zhang Yi and his group had personally experienced the power of the Type 2 wild puppet. It possessed destructive power on par with the Black Knight. Now, I'm being told that there are even more powerful Type Aragu on this planet. Could it be that their strength is... Shunfeng muttered to himself. "Empress level?" These words, like a heavy hammer, strike the soul of every person. If such beings still exist on the experimental planet, They are likely to be in deep trouble. Boom. The surrounding space suddenly trembled violently. GB calmly said, "Look, it's about to appear." The Goku-type Aragoe is an experimental creation. In order to obtain a stronger destructive force on the battlefield, it also has a nickname, Battlefield Harvester. However, due to its enormous size, the amount of energy required to activate it is also extremely large, so it is used very slowly, because when it is hungry, it will indiscriminately attack any object or creature containing energy that it can see. The vibrations in the surrounding space grew increasingly intense. Zhang Yi's sixth sense told him that he needed to leave this place quickly, otherwise his life might be in danger. Deep within the experimental planet, in a vast space sealed by layers of special sealing metal, the seals are being broken one by one. Each seal is made of a special metal that is thousands of meters long and tens of meters thick. Even with Zhang Yi's current strength, it would be difficult to destroy even one of these materials. But thousands upon thousands of such materials formed a huge cage, solely to seal away a terrifying being. Zhang Yi grew increasingly alarmed. He suddenly raised his head and questioned the intelligent entity. "How far away is that type of desolate golem you mentioned from our current location?" The intelligent entity responded calmly. To ensure safety, it was sealed in the deepest part of the experimental planet, which is also, he looked down at the direction of his feet, 5 kilometers directly below this point. "I fucking know," Zhang Yi roared. "Everyone get into my shadow and get out of here." Mu Yan immediately unfolded underground, taking everyone inside. Zhang Yi then stretched out his arm and put the Rubik's Cube into the shadow box, allowing Yang Xinxin to study it at her leisure. "Stop wasting time. Figure out a way to get out of here. First, activate that biowave device he just mentioned to lure away those wandering abominations outside. Otherwise, our spaceship won't be able to take off." Zhang Yi spoke very quickly to Yang Xinxin. The intelligent system promptly responded. "Since the entire network has been cut off, I am currently unable to control the equipment on the experimental satellite, and some equipment may have already been damaged." Zhang Yi felt a chill run down his spine. Of all times, a problem had to arise. "Never mind, let's get out of here first." Zhang Yi ran quickly outside. This time, people from other ethnic groups also gradually arrived around the central area. However, faced with that enormous space composed of countless streams of information, few people dare to easily step into it. They don't possess a Black Knight-level powerhouse like Yang Xinxin, who simultaneously boasts exceptional hacking skills and a powerful rule-based system. This process of probing is very slow. Some groups brought a large number of people, so they sent out mechanical life forms to probe the area. But one wrong step was all it took. The dispatched mechanical life form was immediately taken control and transformed into a weapon that attacked them, a knight of the superintelligence clan, covered in dark silver armor, with a streamlined body that exudes explosive power while possessing ultimate aesthetics. He said to his companion beside him, "The Star Clan's technology surpasses that of our superintelligence clan. If you want to crack this area, you'll need at least one day." Among the people following behind him, there were actually a few figures that Zhang Yi recognized. For example, Pluto of the Natural Sciences Association, followed by Cartier's and Yashin Canero, the all-pervading one. They originally had an ancient civilization with which they had always cooperated, but after the operation to enter the Star Corridor began, they chose to hedge their bets due to their consistent political nature. I end this way, no matter which side gains power in the end, they will not lose the opportunity to curry favor with the powerful. The construct race, which was on good terms with them, belonged to a brother civilization with the superintelligent race, and thus also connected with this powerful civilization. Hearing what the superintelligence knight said, Cadiles rubbed his back and sighed helplessly. There really is always someone better. As he said this, he whispered to Canero beside him, "I should have chosen to follow that bastard Chaos. The girl next to him must be very good at handling these kinds of problems." Canero calmly reminded him, "It's best to say less of that. Remember, you're the Lord of the Ocean, not the Lord of the Galaxy. Nobody here will give you face." Chapter 2933 Past Events of the Vatican. Katie rolled her eyes, her expression clearly a little depressed. Currently, his ability index is only over 40,000 points. He can still play a role in small-scale wars on Earth. But here, knights are everywhere, and bishops are practically worthless. He could only quietly play the supporting role, clearing out some minor monsters. In another direction, Indra and the allied forces of the three-headed tribe arrived at an area. Faced with the starry sky composed of pure data streams, the tri-headed clan had no particularly good way to deal with it. Vishnu looked at Indra. Does destiny guide you on your path? Indra spread his hands helplessly. The guidance of fate is vague. It's not so clear that it will teach you how to take every step. Oh, is that so? So, has fate told you whether we should move forward now, or take a detour? Chishu's tone was somewhat teasing. The relationship between the two has undergone a subtle change, and she now has a strong sense of wariness towards Indra. Indra closed his eyes and carefully sensed it for a moment, then suddenly opened them wide. Fate tells me that I should run away immediately. At roughly the same time, an old man dressed in a flannel suit and an old-fashioned top had arrived deep within the experimental planet. Unlike the others, he wasn't wearing any combat gear, yet he seemed to be thriving in this area, which was completely unsuitable for human survival. He raised his head and looked at the vast information flow forming a galaxy in front of him, a strange blue light flashing in his eyes. Soon, he saw a brilliant universe in his eyes, with countless cyan rays of light rising up in the area in front of him like wildfire. The fireworks are soaring into the sky. So many lives have been buried here in the past. The Star Clan conducted a truly terrifying experiment. He murmured softly, then stretched out his two wrinkled palms. He spread his left hand below and covered the top. Let me guide you on your way home, lost souls. As soon as he finished speaking, the eerie blue flames that only he could see suddenly erupted into chaos. The wind howled, and the flames surged toward him, then quickly transformed into a giant vortex. And the area in the center of his palm is the center of that vortex. All the firelight came from all directions, like a piece of soft silk being torn in the middle, surging rapidly in one direction. In the end, they gathered in Montesquieu's palm. Clatter. He clasped his hands together, and all the energy seemed to vanish into nothingness. The president of the Natural Science Association simply pressed down his felt hat lightly, looking very frail, as if a gust of wind could blow him over. At that moment, a cold voice came from behind him. It's been a long time, hasn't it, Montesquieu? Upon hearing the voice, Montesquieu slowly turned his head and adjusted his felt hat. He saw the handsome yet youthful face of Pope George Wiggins of the Holy See, but his eyes held a kind of vastness and pity for all living beings that was incongruous with his age. Indeed, you've lost your good looks. You've become younger again after getting a new body, Simon Peter. Wiggins rested his chin on his hand, a faint sneer on his face. But your body doesn't look like it can hold up for much longer. Look at you. You reek of decay. You're practically a living dead. Montesquieu completely ignored the menacing Templar members surrounding Wiggins, including the four apocalyptic knights, whom he seemed to disregard entirely. I am just a funeral director, and one day I will be buried in a grave, to be with the wild grass. But the last thing I want to bury is... He stared at George Wiggins, his voice turning icy. It's you. Shut up. Joan of Arc could not tolerate Montesquieu speaking to Wiggins in that tone. You shameful heretic. Who gave you permission to speak to our Pope like that? As soon as she finished speaking, she summoned the Holy Scripture. One after another, sacred scriptures formed from the rules of supernatural power flew out from the pages of the book like a sudden storm, heading straight for Montesquieu. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Several sharp beams of light streaked across the sky, completely tearing Montesquieu's body apart, and he then vanished into thin air.
What?
That guy? Where did he go? Joan of Arc was taken aback. Wiggins, however, reacted rather calmly. He was already gone when he realized we were approaching. That guy is incredibly resilient. He's like an unkillable cockroach. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chased him for over 2,000 years. Wiggins did not allow to continue chasing Montesquieu's shadow, because he knew that the old fox was very difficult to catch. Now is not the time to engage in conflict with the other party. He ordered the 4 horsemen. This place is a site for creating biological weapons with Drucker's flesh and blood as the core. Perhaps we can find the information we're looking for and try to delve deeper into this area. The 4 knights nodded. The cardinal gestured towards the members of the knights, and several highly skilled individuals proficient in electronic information technology stepped forward and began to deconstruct the area using their abilities. But less than a moment after they left, the entire space began to tremble violently. In different spaces, at the same time, all the high-ranking officials who were near this place felt that unsettling aura, accompanied by a deeply suppressed roar. Like a whale howling from the deep sea, it overcame numerous obstacles and began to echo throughout the entire experimental planet. At this moment, the 2 groups, Ya and Wang Lai, were still struggling to find a way somewhere on the experimental planet. Ya lay on the ground, sniffing the ground with her long nose. He said to Wang Lai behind him, "Wang Lai, remember this, there must be a secret of the Star Clan in this place. If the 2 of us can find it this time, we'll definitely make a great contribution when we get back. My little brother will be counting on you guys to protect him then." Wang Lai glanced around and said calmly, "Brother Rat, hasn't your main clan always been dependent on the strong?" S face stiffened. The Giant Tooth clan has never dominated any era, but they have always survived by struggling to survive in the cracks. However, he quickly wiped the embarrassment off his face and said seriously, "Brother Wang Lai, you're not right about that. 800 years ago, we were all one family. Rodents and you reptiles are close relatives." In chapter 2934, King Lai Gatan said very honestly, "In this universe, all carbon-based life forms are close relatives and share a common creator." Nodded vigorously. Yes. When our mothers created us, it was almost the same time. S family all came down from there, standing on each other's shoulders. Upon hearing this, Wang Lai scratched his head with a strange expression. "But Brother Dong told me that I only have one mother, so who is our mother?" Ya immediately became devout, extending a finger and pointing toward the sky. "Is there even a question? Of course, it's the great creator of Gawu." Wang Lai looked puzzled, but what mother would go to such lengths to destroy her own children? "I'm speechless." His eyes darted around, taking in the surroundings. Now, in the starry sky corridor, knowing the creator was omnipresent, he quickly called out,
"What do you mean by that?"
"If you think this universe is bad, why don't you travel to a parallel universe? I am the 5th type of being, so why do I feel so happy? Parallel universe?" A series of black lines appeared on Wang Lai's forehead. Parallel universes certainly exist, and their number is unimaginable. But in the infinite universe, this might be the only place where carbon-based life could survive. Just as the 2 were chatting idly, Wang Lai's gaze suddenly turned serious. "I sense the aura of a powerful being." "A powerful being? Could it be a wild puppet?" Guy asked nervously. "He's no ordinary wild puppet. Compared to the ones we've encountered before, he's much more powerful. He's a truly ruthless character." The instant Zhang Yi and his group broke through the information flow domain, a sealed space more than 5,000 meters below them was suddenly smashed open. When Zhang Yi fled in panic, the space formed by that information flow gradually disappeared due to the removal of the superdimensional cube. Members of various factions who arrived here discovered each other's presence. Their faces held solemn, curious, and strange expressions as they looked at each other. Zhang Yi said in a deep voice, "Be careful, some bastards are coming." Without him saying it, everyone could sense it. The next moment, from the space below, the walls that blocked the space were blasted open by a powerful force, revealing a pitch-black cave. Immediately afterwards, a hideous, terrifying, and deathly pale face burst out of the cave with a roar. A roar that was so loud that the shockwave from the sound alone sent chills down the spines of every Epsilon-level powerhouse in the vicinity. They saw an incredibly large and powerful golem, at least 300 meters tall. Although they are both GI-shaped creatures, their bodies look like they were stitched together from pieces of a corpse, with each area having a different color. I sensed an aura from him similar to that of a Type I wild puppet. Both were killing machines driven solely by desire, devoid of reason. This is the Type 3 wild puppet, Gaten. What a good guy. Zhang Yi couldn't help but say. Inside a spatial passage above, Wan Lai Enya, who had just appeared, couldn't help but stare wide-eyed at the sight. The moment Gaten appeared, his two eyes, the pupils of which could move 360 degrees, locked onto all the figures in his eyes. To him, each was not a simple shaped creature, but rather a delicious feast bursting with blazing energy flames. He suddenly turned his head, aimed at the direction of the Holy Sea, opened his mouth, and a terrifying, pitch-black energy instantly condensed, like a black hole. In the blink of an eye, an incomparably powerful energy wave shot straight toward Pope Wiggins and was released with a roar. Light shield array. Arnold Oleb roared, and the golden holy sword ignited with a raging fire of judgment. All members of the Templar Knights exerted their power simultaneously, and beams of white light surged from their bodies, forming a protective shield that enveloped them all. However, the shield shattered after withstanding only one blow from Gaten. Arnold Oleb and Joan of Arc were the first to be hit, and were almost directly engulfed by the black energy wave. Just at this critical moment, Pope Wiggins finally appeared. He took out the Dead Sea Scrolls, which looked incredibly ancient and had many tattered pages, the oldest surviving collection of ancient documents. God said, "Let there be light." A devout chant emanated from his mouth, and he raised his head as if calling upon his people. The next moment, an incomparably sacred power of faith surged forth from the Dead Sea Scrolls, like a raging sea, blocking Arnold Olivier and Joan of Arc's path. The Dead Sea Scrolls, which embodied the collective willpower of all believers in the entire Holy See, actually blocked Gaten's attack head-on. Looking at Pope Wiggins and Gaten, Zhang Yi couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Because the power that Gaten has shown is clearly far beyond what a Black Knight-level expert can contend with, and he may even have already stepped halfway into the threshold of the Queen level. He immediately asked the AI of the hyperdimensional cube, "How powerful is Gaten?" The intelligent agent replied, "We cannot create a rational Gaten." Because of his incomplete rationality, he was unable to grasp the true meaning of the universe, and therefore could not achieve a super-universe power leap to reach the level of a queen. Its combat strength is 69,999 points. However, I must remind you one thing. Never try to confront him, and even more so, never attempt to attack him in any way. By the time he said those words, it was too late. Because a creature with a wolf's head couldn't resist raising its golden scepter and unleashing a scorching attack with the temperature of a star at Gaten's body. In the name of the supreme sun god Ra, burn everything. The golden scepter pointed at Gaten, and from the golden eye on the scepter, a pure golden flame erupted. Its temperature is so high that it causes the surrounding light to be violently distorted. It is a terrifying heat that can even burn diamonds to ashes. However, when that power shone on Gaten, it did not cause any damage to his body. The previously withered and pale Gardon suddenly swelled up rapidly due to the attack of this power, and its skin turned a blood-red color. At this moment, the AI's voice finished speaking. Because their role on the battlefield is that of a chariot, capable of absorbing all attacks below the queen level and converting them into their own energy. Chapter 2935, the last one. You mean the attack you mentioned? Zhang Yi coldly asked the intelligent agent. What about the rules? Can the rules constrain it? The intelligent agent replied, Please take a closer look at his body. His body was stitched together from the bodies of 10,000 death row inmates, each possessing one of 10,000 different high-level superpowers. Therefore, he can ignore almost all supernatural attacks, making him far superior to cannon-fodder soldiers like the Type 1 wild puppet. The image immediately flashed through Zhang Yi's mind. On the battlefields of ancient times, facing the charge of the nearly immortal Drukians with their absolutely powerful physiques, the Star Clan dropped one enormous Gatten after another from their starships. Like a massive biological war machine, it rumbled across the battlefield. Despite the Druk's powerful attacks, it was not shattered. Instead, it grew larger and more terrifying. The realm of no form. Zhang Yi immediately widened the distance between himself and Gatten. Others may not know how strong Gatten is, but he knows very well. At this moment, Hulan's rash move caused Gatten to change his target. He raised his enormous hand and suddenly swung it into the air, unleashing an incredibly terrifying storm. No one could have imagined that the wind could be so strong. It was less like wind and more like a shockwave generated by his sweeping gesture. The various powerful forces surging along the sky continued to spread to Hulan and Mengqi, among others. Several night-level experts used their special abilities to protect themselves at the first moment, but they were still violently knocked away. The people of the also wanted to run away and had no desire to fight this terrifying monster. But as Gatten appeared, the surrounding space began to collapse with a rumbling sound. Yang Xinxin's pupils contracted sharply, and she said to Zhang Yi, "Something's wrong. The entire experimental star is starting to collapse." Zhang Yi stared at the floating white demon before him and asked coldly, "You did it, didn't you?" The white demon's intelligent agent calmly replied, "Although I do not possess planetary-level antimatter bombs, I can destroy everything on a planet. However, before being controlled by you, Master, I have already set up a basic program. Once I lose control of the entire planet, it means the experimental planet will fall. Then the various components of the experimental star will undergo structural collapse. While this wouldn't kill the powerful intruder, it would buy Gardon enough time. During this time, no one could escape from an undead creature that had been starving for billions of years." Zhang Yi felt a chill run down his spine. "Didn't you seal him away?" The agent replied, "That's right. They are creatures that act on instinct, and no drug or physical device can put them into a state of dormancy. We simply use special experimental equipment to imprison them, that's all." Just then, Lu Karen's voice rang out excitedly. Although it was somewhat inappropriate, she couldn't help but say, "Brother Zhang Yi, the metals deepest in the experimental planet are the ideal sealing material we've been looking for." Zhang Yi thought about it and agreed. This thing can even seal dozens of Type 3 wild puppets, so you can imagine its ability to suppress supernatural powers and its toughness as a physical material. Zhang Yi took a deep breath and said to the AI, "Tell me how to take it down? What are its weaknesses?" The intelligent agent replied, "If you can reach the queen level and possess a powerful rule seal, or an absolutely powerful force that can burst its body, then you can defeat it." Zhang Yi's eye muscles twitched suddenly. "Besides these, are there any other methods?" The agent replied, "There is no other way, because Gatten is the perfect biological war machine." So Zhang Yi could only stare at this perfect biological war machine, his eyes burning with the intense desire to eat that had been consuming billions of tons of food. It pounced on every visible creature in its vicinity. Dane of the Superintelligence clan, dressed in a streamlined silver battlesuit, was followed by members of the Construct clan and the Natural Science Association. When they saw Zhang Yi, there was no joy in their eyes like that of reuniting with an acquaintance. Cartier's was so angry she wanted to curse him out. Others may not know what Zhang Yi did, but he knows Zhang Yi all too well. Upon seeing Zhang Yi rush out of that area, Gardon was released and immediately realized that this matter was inextricably linked to Zhang Yi. However, at this moment, they had no time to complain. Gatten's enormous body had fully emerged, and he opened his massive claws, lunging at Dane. Dane was unwilling to surrender, so he reached out and pressed on a gem-like structure on his chest. In the next instant, a dazzling light burst forth from his body, and in the blink of an eye, his body expanded rapidly, reaching a size of over 300 meters, close to that of Gatten, transforming him into a colossal giant. Facing Gatten's attack, Dane assumed a fighting stance and slashed forward with his palm. However, the two bodies collided for only a moment before Dane was violently sent flying. In terms of strength, Gatten is a force capable of directly confronting the elite Drukians. Although Dane looked enormous, his limbs were much thinner, making him no match for him. Zhang Yi wanted to leave, but the surrounding space was rapidly collapsing, and the original path was no longer there. However, due to the presence of numerous restrictive metals in the surrounding area, he was unable to activate the formless realm to leave quickly. In just 1 minute, the entire planet seemed to be completely sealed off from the outside. All the people will be trapped in this land, and then face endless pursuit by Gadon. Just when Zhang Yi and his team were at their wits' end, something even worse happened. From the gaps in the buildings, the abandoned puppets that had been scattered all over the experimental planet were swarming toward this place like madmen. Gaten's roar was not just a simple intimidation, but a summon signal. It is summoning all the undead on the planet to come and annihilate them. This is absolutely terrible. Zhang Yi felt a sharp pain in his head. But the next second, something even more fatal happened. Gaten's eyes were fixed on him. Zhang Yi, who is currently one of the people with the highest life energy level in this group, is the fattest prey in Gaten's eyes. Chapter 2936 Joining forces to fight Gaten opened its blood-red maw at Zhang Yi, and a ball of pitch-black energy frantically condensed, unleashing a terrifying shockwave. Whoosh! Zhang Yi instantly activated the Boundless Realm, narrowly dodging the attack. No sooner had he landed than a sharp shockwave erupted from Gaten's arm, striking him fiercely. That force slammed into the Taishu bathrobe, instantly causing violent ripples to spread across the garment. Fortunately, his defensive power far exceeded his offensive power, and he withstood the blow without a scratch. Everyone around was stunned. They witnessed firsthand how the superintelligent being Dane was swept away by Gaten with a single blow, without even a chance to fight back. Just then, the symbiotic clan member, Changji, shouted sternly over the communication channel. If we want to leave alive now, everyone must join forces to fight the enemy. No one should hold back anymore. Let's attack together. Everyone immediately reached a consensus. Even Zhang Yi temporarily suppressed the idea of running away alone and letting the others fend for themselves. He warned everyone in a deep voice, don't use energy-type attacks. This thing is an upgraded version of the wild puppet. Normal attacks are useless against it. Of course, he wouldn't say that the core of the experimental star was already in his hands. He was just making a speculation. Upon hearing this, Hulan was instantly overwhelmed and roared. Then what do we do? Are we supposed to charge at it and fight it hand to hand? Who can withstand the body of this thing? Superintelligent Dane suddenly stood up and assumed a fighting stance. I'll give it a try. He crossed his right arm across his left arm, and a terrifying particle pulse was released, rushing straight towards Gaten's body. This is not an ordinary energy shockwave, but a Pixar beam. This is the ultimate killing move of the Superintelligence clan, which combines superpowers and technology and can decompose all matter in the world. But when the massive Pixar beam struck Gaten, it only managed to tear a small section of flesh from its body, sending up a few sparks. The next second, the wound healed instantly at a speed visible to the naked eye. This completely enraged Gaten. It leaped suddenly, rushing towards Dane with lightning speed, and with a simple swing of its huge arm, slammed heavily into Dane's body. Despite Dane's best efforts to block, he was still violently blasted tens of thousands of meters away, crashing heavily into the collapsed ruins, his fate unknown. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and shouted loudly towards Pope Wiggins in the distance. Wiggins, try using your power of faith. The power of faith is the most primordial power, one of the most original forms of ether. It might have a miraculous effect. He said this also as a way of testing just how much power the new Pope of the Holy See was hiding. Those around had witnessed the Pope using the power of faith from the Dead Sea Scrolls to withstand Gaten's attack. At this moment, they all chimed in. Don't hold back at a time like this. Does your Holy See think you can just sit back and reap the benefits without lifting a finger? The tone of each party's expression may seem calm, but it actually conceals a strong sense of threat. At such a critical moment of life and death, no one can tolerate anyone cheating or shirking their responsibilities. Seeing this, Wiggins slowly stood up from the chariot, his tone indifferent. Of course, I will take action. However, I would like to ask one thing first. His gaze locked onto Zhang Yi with a chilling intensity. What exactly did you gain by entering this core area? Was the resurgence of this giant golem caused by you? These words instantly put Zhang Yi on the opposite side of everyone. Too many people witnessed that as soon as Zhang Yi and his group flew out of the core area, Gaden followed suit and appeared after the lockdown was lifted. In the chaos just now, no one thought much, but after Wiggins pointed it out, everyone's eyes were instantly filled with hostility when they looked at Zhang Yi. So they were dragged into this hopeless situation by Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi sneered. We're all here for the same purpose, so why are you being so coy? If we don't make a move soon, we'll all die here. Wiggins said calmly. Once this matter is settled, you must give us all an explanation. As he finished speaking, he slowly opened the Dead Sea Scrolls in his hand, and a deep chanting arose from his lips. The gates of hell opened, and demons poured out of the fiery hell to earth, bringing calamity. The gods punished them, condemning them to eternal damnation, never to be reborn. As the chanting ended, a vast, ocean-like power of faith surged forth from the Dead Sea Scrolls, instantly attaching itself to the 4 apocalyptic knights. The 4 of them experienced a surge and a frenzied increase in aura, leaping directly from the White Bishop level to the Black Knight level. This scene made Zhang Yi's gaze suddenly turn serious. The Holy Sea's resources, spanning thousands of years, are terrifyingly profound. He had previously witnessed Cardinal Arnold Olib using a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls to significantly enhance his strength, but he never imagined that the original revelation would be this powerful. For apocalyptic knights, their bodies enveloped in a dazzling red and white flame, surged forth, heading straight for Gadon. Joan of Arc struck first. Using the verses of Revelation as talismans and weapons, the pages of the book rained down on Gaten's body. The pages of the book floated around it, instantly unleashing a terrifying sealing power that locked Gaten's body tightly. The mourning nuns weeping, Buchanan Gerda's tearing telekinetic power, and Arnold Olib's golden flame holy sword all blasted towards Gadon. The 4 forces merged perfectly in an instant, forming a terrifying resonance that bound Gaten's enormous body firmly to the spot. The distant, civilized races around them, upon witnessing this scene, completely changed their gazes towards Wiggins. In the past, all their attention to the 6th person was focused on Zhang Yi and Hua Sugua. No one expected that the unassuming and quietly gathering of believers, which later relied on the feathered race to avoid countless conflicts, actually possessed terrifying strength comparable to Zhang Yi's team. Especially that eerie power of faith. As civilization approaches its end, it will only become more and more terrifying. But before they could even celebrate for 2 seconds, an accident happened. Gaten's body, resisting the immense sealing power, expanded and contracted like he was breathing. Just a few seconds later, Gaten suddenly opened his arms, and the power that was enough to lock down the Black Knight's seal was smashed to pieces by it. One of the most terrifying abilities of the wild puppet is its ability to adapt, which is displayed to the fullest extent in its body. Even the Type 2 wild puppet has difficulty adapting to the power of faith, and its erosion on it is almost negligible. These invaders' resistance completely ignited its ferocity. Gaten let out a deafening roar that shattered the earth, and suddenly opened its massive maw. Deep within its throat, a massive black hole instantly formed, its terrifyingly powerful attraction sweeping across the entire area. The black hole was directly facing the direction of Daya and Wang Lai. The terrifying tearing force instantly caused Big Tooth to lose control of his body, and he flew wildly toward Gaten's gaping maw. Chapter 2937 Brothers, save me. Ah! Save my little brother. The big guy screamed in fright. At the critical moment, a strong, powerful hand grabbed Big Brother's arm tightly. Wang Lai's body was like cast steel, firmly rooted to the spot. His muscles bulged wildly, and his legs sank deep into the hard, special metal floor. Despite the intense suction pulling at him, his body remained completely still. The Tyrannosaurus rex possesses the most superior physique among all races. At their peak, they once faced off against the Drucker team head-on. Although they don't have the Drucker's abnormal immortality, their physical strength is almost the same. Rumble. Behind Wan Lai, countless fragments of ruins were being frantically pulled and flew toward Gatton's giant mouth. As the massive metal buildings approached Gatton, they were compressed into tiny metal spheres, which were then swallowed whole. In a very short time, dozens of giant buildings were swallowed up by it. The AI of the hyperdimensional cube immediately reminded Zhang Yi its absorption ability is far more terrifying than that of a Type 1 wild puppet. Even if it only devours ordinary matter, it can continuously strengthen itself. Everyone watched this scene unfold, yet no one dared to make a move. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I simply don't know how to deal with this monster. Moreover, the surrounding Type 1 wild puppets were already swarming over like ants, posing a huge threat to them. At that moment, the voices of King Arthur and the others echoed in the shadow space. Zhang Yi, let them go. You deal with this big guy, and you can take care of the minions. The outside world is fraught with danger, but they are unwilling to remain hidden in the safe shadow space forever. They are all top-tier human beings, and they have their own pride. Moreover, crisis can be an opportunity. As long as you kill the wild puppet here, even if you only get an assist, you can receive the creator's blessing. Li Changgong, Zhuke, is the best example. Alright, you guys take care of yourselves. I can't look after you right now. Without further hesitation, Zhang Yi immediately activated the shadow space. Dozens of core members leaped forward and charged toward the oncoming Type 1 wild puppet killer. Only Shunfeng, Luo Qiao, and Yang Xinxin remained by Zhang Yi's side. Uncle, Fatty Su, King Arthur, Morana, and others rushed into the distance to block those Type 1 desolate puppets. Deng Shintong was the first to make a move. The Dao star rose from his palm, transforming into a sun suspended in the sky. There was no scorching heat, only intense white light that instantly swept across all directions. The moment those desolate puppets raised their consciousness, white light shone into their pupils. Their eyes instantly turned pure white, and everything in front of them became an illusion created by Deng Shintong. Sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch. All senses are altered, utterly plunging one into an endless illusion. Li Changgong, wielding a long saber, moved with lightning speed, using the flying cloud step to pounce and kill. With a single slash, several wild puppets had their core severed and were dead beyond any hope of survival. Watching them effortlessly hold off a large group of Type 1 wild puppets, the various races of aliens around them were all stunned, their eyes filled with shock. They had suffered countless hardships at the hands of these Type 1 wild puppet masters. Who would have thought that the person Zhang Yi was in charge of would be this strong? Long and of the Emerald Feather clan couldn't help but murmur. No wonder they're the protagonist race of the apocalypse. Even though the 6th generation is about to lose the halo of the era, they can still receive the blessing of the Creator and possess such terrifying longevity. Mon Chi of the Abyss clan spoke gravely. Now is not the time for sentimentality. We must find a way as soon as possible. Either leave this damned planet, or control this monster. Leaving is easier said than done. They are now at the very center of the experimental star, which is equivalent to the very center of the Earth's core. Before, when there was a passageway, it would have taken them several hours to get here. All passageways have been crushed, and this place is a full 6,000 kilometers below the surface, making a quick escape impossible. When everyone was terrified and at their wits' end, a voice with a curry-like smell that Zhang Yi knew all too well suddenly rang out. Now, if anyone wants to leave alive, they can only rely on one person. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. The one who spoke was none other than Indra, the ruler of Bharata. Zhang Yi looked at him and instantly remembered his abilities. While Indra's combat prowess isn't top tier, his ability to foresee the future is truly astonishing. This child prodigy, Bharata, can foresee the trajectory of destiny and see the future that is not yet visible. It's been so long since we last met, and Indra's strength has increased significantly. He hasn't reached the Black Knight level yet, but he's just one step away. This guy is practically an upgraded version of Takasaka Nagakatsu. As long as you follow the path of destiny, you can overcome all dangers and continuously grow stronger. Most of the people around did not recognize Indra, until Vishnu of the Goktan tribe spoke up to explain. His ability is to see the future. Vishnu stared intently at Indra and shouted urgently, "What time is it? Stop beating around the bush. Speak quickly." While they were talking, Gatton had already swallowed a large amount of metal building materials, temporarily filling his stomach. Its body, having absorbed a large amount of energy and matter, regained much of its luster. At this moment, it set its sights on Wang Lai of the Tyrannosaurus clan. With its massive body, bulging muscles, and volcanic power, Wang Lai was, in its eyes, the most exquisite delicacy. Wang Lai felt no fear whatsoever when facing this monster. He slowly lowered his head and drew his twin swords from behind his back. Facing Gatton's frantically charging body, he neither dodged nor avoided, but met it head-on, slashing fiercely with his twin swords. Two terrifying bolts of lightning erupted from his body, transforming into two pure white lightning whips that lashed fiercely at Gatton's body. The thunder whip collided head-on with the giant hand that Gatton reached out. Crackling and popping, a bolt of lightning swept across the sky and slammed into Gatton's palm. They actually severed one of its fingers. This scene instantly stunned the entire audience. Even Wiggins couldn't help but exclaim, "No wonder they're one of the strongest races in the universe. Their combat prowess is truly terrifying." But this stunning moment only lasted for a mere second. Gatton's severed finger instantly healed completely. The violent power of lightning was slowly absorbed by its body. Instead of getting angry, it became even more excited. Wang Lai's pure thunderous power is its nourishment. It chased after Wang Lai even more frantically, like an eagle catching a chick, relentlessly pursuing him. "Oh no! We can't fight it like this." Wang Lai instantly realized something was wrong and immediately grabbed a gu and ran for his life. His body moved like lightning, constantly traversing the void. Chapter 2938. The only way to break the stalemate. The crowd watched with bated breath, urgently urging Emperor Shi to speak. "Quickly, what is the method?" Emperor Shi pointed in one direction, and the tip of his finger was aimed directly at Zhang Yi. "The key to breaking this deadlock lies with Lord Chaos." He gave Zhang Yi a bright, humble, yet incredibly irritating smile. All eyes instantly fell on Zhang Yi. They were all stunned. In terms of ability, Zhang Yi may not be much stronger than the others present. What's his solution to break the deadlock? Indra slowly said, "I only saw the guidance of fate. As for what Lord Chaos will do, I know." The kobold Hulan immediately bared his teeth and roared at Zhang Yi, "You caused this mess. Now, it's your turn to clean it up." Zhang Yi was originally planning to resolve the issue properly, but upon hearing this, he instantly felt relieved. He sneered, "You think I have to solve it just because you say so? On what grounds? Do you have any evidence?" Hulan's voice faltered, then she opened her dog-like mouth angrily and roared, "Do you think we're all blind? This monster clearly appeared right after you came out." Zhang Yi wore a roguish expression. "Everyone here is after the secrets of the experimental star's core. Even if I came, you all would have come. Its appearance was inevitable. Don't try to pin this on me." The symbiotic tribe's Changji immediately stepped in to smooth things over. "All right, now is the time for infighting." He looked at Zhang Yi and said sincerely, "Lord Chaos, if you really have a way, please keep it to yourself. We will all be grateful for your help." Zhang Yi looked at Disher's figure from afar and sighed helplessly in his heart. He does have one ultimate solution he can try, but he doesn't intend to use it so soon. Don't forget, this trip to the Starry Sky Corridor was part of a grand scheme orchestrated by him and the Dragon Clan. The goal is to eliminate the ancient races that have survived on Earth and reshuffle the deck. To give the Dragon Clan and the Huashu Kingdom more say on Earth in the future. Aside from the lost Tyrannosaurus Rex King Lai, the rest of the people gathered here are all powerful forces from the 3rd and 4th tiers. If kills them all here, will help Zhang Yi eliminate countless threats. But now that things have come to this point, if he keeps hiding it, he will become the enemy of the entire universe once the news gets out. This is absolutely the result he wanted to see. Zhang Yi lowered his eyes and slowly said, I do have a method I can try. But if I can do it alone, I'll need all of you to work together. Upon hearing Zhang Yi's solution, everyone was overjoyed. At a point like this, what's the point of saying anything? We will definitely cooperate fully. Just as they were talking, several more third-rate tribesmen were swallowed whole by Gaten, who opened his huge mouth and turned them into its nourishment. Zhang Yi raised his hand and opened the alternate dimension, slowly taking out his greatest trump card, the human form of Sword Knight Zero. Upon seeing this flawless, silvery white body, a look of awe instantly appeared in everyone's eyes. They had seen Zhang Yi take out this human form on the Australian grasslands to intimidate all races. But just how strong this human body is, nobody knows. Zhang Yi slowly addressed the crowd. Sword Knightling has returned to the ether. But her human form in the material world still retains her power rules. If we all pour all our power into it, we're sure to be able to deal with this desolate puppet before us. In fact, Zhang Yi was certain that Ling was dealing with Gadon. But he only knew one thing. This once invincible being who roamed the universe must have a way to deal with him. Everyone stared intently at that perfect, flawless silver-white body, their eyes filled with a mixture of jealousy, curiosity, and other emotions. But right now, they don't have a better option. Changji, a member of the symbiotic race, spoke first. All right, I'm willing to contribute my strength. As soon as he finished speaking, a streak of light flew from afar, heading straight for Zhang Yi. Changji's voice reached Zhang Yi's ears. No resistance. Symbiotic beings can merge with their hosts, enhancing the latter's power. I can grant you this power boost. Zhang Yi didn't sense any malice. All he saw was that the armor suddenly burst open from the middle. Zhang Yi then discovered that the armor was completely empty. The body of the symbiotic race is this kind of external armor-like existence. Zhang Yi did not refuse and removed the defenses of the Taishu bathrobe. With the warning power of the hour and second hands, no matter what tricks the other party dares to play, he will break free immediately. Soon, the dark purple armor was put on Zhang Yi directly from behind. It was as if another layer of skin had grown on the god-slaying armor, fitting perfectly. Zhang Yi instantly felt an incredibly comfortable power surge through his entire body, as if he were soaking in a hot spring, with every pore on his body opening up. His strength surged dramatically in an instant. The symbiotic race, an ancient and powerful race with a long history, has existed alongside other powerful races since it was dominated by them. This is all thanks to the terrifying power that perfectly amplifies the strength of the powerful. Zhang Yi took a deep breath and poured his power into Ling's body. Seeing that the symbiotic race had taken the lead, the other races sprang into action and began to gather around Zhang Yi. Pope Wiggins gave Zhang Yi a deep look, then raised the Dead Sea Scrolls. A surging power of faith, like a vast white ocean, with endless waves crashing into Zero's body. A huge vortex appeared in front of Ling's body, and the power of the strong from all races was continuously converging here. Zero, whose eyelids were lowered and whose face was expressionless, slowly raised her eyes. Especially when the power of faith surged into her body, a strange fluctuation appeared in her eyes. She felt the faith of all living beings and the meaning of life. Brothers, help! I can hold on. Wang Lai's cries for help rang in everyone's ears. Even with the Tyrannosaurus Rex's formidable physique, it was utterly humiliated and beaten by Gaten's relentless pursuit. He had been hit head-on by Gaten 3 times, his body was almost split open, and he was coughing up mouthfuls of blood. This scene secretly alarmed Zhang Yi. He thought to himself, since I was hit head-on by Gaten 3 times, my body must have been broken long ago. No wonder the Tyrannosaurus Rex became the nemesis of the Dragon Clan at the end of the last era. They were indeed terrifyingly strong. At this moment, the powerful figures of each race dared not hold back even the slightest bit of their knowledge. They all exerted all their strength, frantically pouring their own source power into Zero's body. Thump, thump, thump. A strong heartbeat emanated from Zero's body. That sound, that rhythmic energy, resonates directly in the depths of everyone's soul. Chapter 2939. The sword arrives. That body, which was originally like a mechanical puppet, slowly exuded a terrifying aura that shook the heavens and the earth. A gentle light appeared in Zero's eyes. She turned her head and slowly opened her palm toward Zhang Yi. Sword, come. The eternal judgment sword in Zhang Yi's hand instantly left his palm and flew towards 0.0, gripped the long sword firmly. Sword Knight. Only when you grasp the sword do you reach your perfect form. The moment she grasped the sword, everyone felt a certain sensation. At this moment, Zero exudes a terrifying aura of dominance, as if he were the only one worthy of respect. It's as if no matter who stands before you, you can only bow your head and submit. This terrifying aura was so strong that even the frenzied predator Gadon instantly sensed something was wrong. He punched Wang Lai again, sending him flying. He watched as Wang Lai coughed up blood, but did not continue to pursue him, turned around and stared intently at Zero in midair with an incredibly complex look, as if he had seen a natural enemy. Roar. The monster opened its massive maw and let out a deafening roar. Zhang Yi murmured, "The core of the wild puppet is the flesh and blood of the Druk people, and the Druk people's fear of the Sword Knights is etched into their very bones." The momentum of Zero is still rising wildly. Ultimately, however, he still failed to break through the limitations of the Black Knight level. The power fluctuations emanating from her body finally settled at 69,999 points, exactly as Gatton had predicted. Almost everyone present poured their power into Ling's body. Zhang Yi also made a significant contribution, as this was the only way they could think of to break the deadlock at the moment. Everyone pinned their hopes on this oldest swordsman of the era, who would lead them out of their predicament. With Ling's resurgence, the powerful, vast, and ancient aura emanating from her invigorated everyone. Everyone turned on their video recordings, eager to watch a thrilling battle. The Type 3 wild puppet let out a deafening roar. Ling glanced down at it, and the next moment, she raised the sword in her hand, her whole body flashing through the air like a streak of light. A streak of white sword light swept across tens of thousands of meters, as if it were about to tear apart the entire space. Just one sword strike. After the sword strike, Ling didn't even glance at the Type 3 wild puppet and turned back to Zhang Yi's side. She twirled the sword gracefully, held it by the hilt, handed the Eternal Judgment Sword to Zhang Yi, and then spoke calmly to him. "If you can't even handle something like this, your understanding of the Tathagata is still too weak." Zhang Yi's face flushed red instantly. This girl rarely showed any sign of shame. "If I fight to the death, I might have a chance to win. You know, I just don't want to take any risks." What Zhang Yi said was actually the truth. With Ling's swordsmanship, the demon has the confidence to fight against the wild puppets. If unleashes all of its power, it's really hard to say who will emerge victorious among the three types of Aragway. However, when the probability of death exceeded 10%, he was unwilling to take action. The TO put it more dramatically. "Even if there is only a 10% or even 5% chance of death, I would try my best to avoid battle." Ling looked somewhat speechless, but she didn't pay much attention to Zhang Yi. The amount of fluid that comes from the outside cannot be retained in her body for long. It is a consumable. Without further ado, she directly opened Zhang Yi's personal space. You heard right. She directly opened the door to the space for Zhang Yi, and then went into slumber inside. After she left, a loud rumbling sound came. A huge crack appeared in the middle of the wild puppet's body. One after another, streaks of light flashed, like soaring sword energy, bursting forth from its body. Immediately, the mountain-like body began to shatter and collapse, turning into countless pieces of broken flesh and blood, its life force extinguished. Once the causal connection is severed, it can no longer maintain vital signs. Sever the cause and effect. Zhang Yi was utterly astonished by what he saw. He muttered to himself, "If I could learn this move, wouldn't I be able to cut down anyone I see?" Hearing Zhang Yi's soft murmur, Yang Xinxin, hidden in the shadows, didn't have the heart to pour cold water on him. As a causal power user, she knows very well how difficult it is to achieve what Rin has done. And oh, that's not even enough to describe it as difficult. It's even more incredible than an ant lifting up a planet. From the very beginning of the universe, Ling was the closest being to the power of the Creator. Even looking at the entire universe, among all the Omega-level beings throughout history, there has never been anyone who could come close to the power of the Sword Knight. She not only possesses extremely powerful talent, but she also receives a direct blessing from the Creator, Gaiwu and the mythology of the papacy. She is Michael, the archangel who was given the Holy Sword and was the commander of God's personal guard. Even just the glimmer of light emanating from the human form that remains in the material world is enough to leave people speechless with astonishment. Zhang Yi wasn't the only one surprised. Most of the other people in the area had never seen Ling make a serious move. They originally thought this would be a thrilling battle, imagining countless possibilities, even thinking that this battle could potentially destroy the entire experimental planet. But no one expected that with just one sword strike, the Type 3 wild puppet that had almost driven them to despair was completely extinguished by Ling's sword. Some people didn't even realize how Ling did it. Does this universe have the most perfect race in history, the strongest sword angel among the Ihan race? The Inhuman from the Superintelligence clan murmured. This is an extreme that mechanical civilization can never reach. A sense of sadness settled over her. Because the superintelligent race has fused with the alien and the machine, it can walk on two legs. However, when you try to sit on two chairs at the same time, you will often fall from the middle. The so-and-so superintelligent race has never been the true overlord of our era. Suddenly, from among those shattered Type 3 desolate puppets, wisps of pure white light began to shoot into the sky. That is the very pure power of the Zhang Yi recalled what the super-dimensional cube intelligence body had said to the Demon Lord. The fusion of tens of thousands of powerful death row inmates from the three types of wild puppet lord. After it was killed, a large number of fragments of the mongoose began to leak out of its body. Pope George Wiggins was the first to act. He raised the Dead Sea Scrolls high in his hand and loudly chanted the hymns of the sacred text. The world will eventually perish. The gates of hell will open, and demons will destroy humanity. Only by returning to God's eternal kingdom can one attain freedom, peace, and liberation. Join in the glorious purification. Chapter 2940. The ends of the earth are within reach, yet the ends of the earth are within reach. The pages of the Dead Sea Scrolls flipped rapidly, emitting a powerful pulling force that absorbed strands of the fragmented essence and merged them into the scroll. Although Zhang Yi's reaction was a fraction slower, his speed was probably slower than anyone else's. His eyes flashed, and his entire body transformed into a streak of light, instantly traversing 10,000 meters to arrive at the body of the Type 3 wild puppet. Though we are far apart, we are close at heart. After voluntarily sacrificing himself in time and space and merging with Zhang Yi's abilities, his spatial control was further enhanced. This is the ability to completely transcend the realm of formlessness. The realm of formlessness is a freely formed domain within a radius of 5,000 meters. Tianya Jiqi is a spatial traversal of a higher level, a capability that requires opening a door to directly cross spatial boundaries. In the blink of an eye, a distance of 10,000 meters passed before my eyes. He arrived in the sky above the Type 3 wild puppet and saw countless white lights beginning to shoot towards the sky. If the demons are stopped in time, they will slowly dissipate and return to a higher dimensional world. With a wave of his hand, Zhang Yi opened 3,000 dimensional gates. Absorb all things in the universe. He collected a large amount of broken pieces of meat directly. People from other groups, recovering from their initial shock, also roared and joined the scramble for a type of Japanese snack. Fortunately, at this moment, everyone's physical abilities were weakened to varying degrees because they had merged their power into Ling's body. Moreover, having just escaped a calamity, they also wanted to kill each other, so they were fighting each other with all their might. Just then, a golden flame swept in from afar, passing straight in front of Zhang Yi. The terrifying heat made Zhang Yi instinctively try to avoid it. Although the Taishu bathrobe protected him, preventing him from being injured, the terrifying energy still caused ripples to spread across its surface. Zhang Yi turned his head and saw Hulan, the werewolf he had previously taught a lesson to, staring at him with a friendly expression. The golden scepter in his hand stopped gleaming, poised to strike. Now that the matter of the wild puppet has been resolved, shouldn't we talk about your matter as well? Hulan had previously had a world core stolen by Zhang Yi, and she had always held a grudge against him. Now that the opportunity is here, of course they won't let Zhang Yi go. Zhang Yi slowly narrowed his eyes. At this point, the surrounding fragments had been almost completely collected. Hulan, along with Meng Qi of the Abyss clan and Chang, and of the Emerald Feather clan behind him, formed a united front. They reaped considerable gains during this operation and naturally wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to get a bigger slice of the pie. Meng Qi also said to Zhang Yi, "Our various races have all contributed to this Star Clan's experimental planet trip. But in the end, none of us saw what was at the core of the experimental star. Your Excellency, Chaos, eating alone is a good habit. I think you should share those important documents with us. After all, we're allies." Pope Wiggins, standing some distance away, nodded and said calmly, "If you had released that giant golem, we would have been in such a sorry state, even suffering heavy losses." Although the Type 3 wild puppet appeared for a relatively short time, it still devoured dozens of aliens from various races. Some members of the Knights Templar also perished here. Although in terms of combat strength, they are just minor figures on the big stage, who would willingly use their clan's elite with unlimited potential as cannon fodder. Ultimately, the main reason is that Zhang Yi and his group monopolized the super-dimensional magic cube, which aroused the jealousy of others. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Zhang Yi, as if they were about to make him leave if he shared anything. Zhang Yi's gaze swept coldly over everyone. The armor he wore, which came from the symbiotic tribe's Changji, also detached from his body. Changji, standing nearby, advised, "Your Excellency Chaos, we all contributed to this operation. Furthermore, everyone will embark on a journey together into the depths of the Starry Sky Corridor. We're only halfway through our journey, and no one knows what dangers we'll encounter later. We would appreciate your generosity if you could share this important information with everyone." Su Pengzi, who was used to following Zhang Yihao's lead and acting arrogantly, said angrily, "Want to know what's in our bellies? If you're so capable, take it back yourselves and fight them to the death. I want to see who's stronger." People around him looked at Fatty Su with strange eyes. It is true that people can only say the harshest things when they are in the safest place. Uncle Yu couldn't help but give him a sharp rap on the head. "Compete? What are you going to compete with? You should see just how powerful they really are. Are you suggesting we risk our lives to fight them? You talk so tough. Why don't you get out first?" Fatty Su shrank his neck. "I was just trying to cheer up the boss. It's all about losing face." At this moment, Zhang Yi knew that if he continued to be stingy, he would inevitably incur public wrath and even be besieged. After thinking for a moment, he nodded and said, "I obtained these things through my own abilities, so I might give them to you. However, I can share some important information with you about the Star Clan's upcoming itinerary. If you want to hear it, I can tell you. If you want to hear it." He smiled faintly. "I also think you can catch me." Zhang Yi's words were numerous, yet subtly barbed. It's clear he's determined to keep this amazing thing, the super-dimensional magic cube, for himself. After future modifications, it can be used as the control system for its own dreamer. Even if it's the central AI used by the Star Clan to maintain an experimental field, it's still far more powerful than the human intelligence technology he currently possesses. At this point, everyone began to weigh their options. They all knew how strong Zhang Yi's survival skills were. That move just now, the ends of the earth are within reach, covered a distance of 10,000 meters in a single leap. With Ling as a trump card, and if it really comes down to a fight, everyone will be in a better position. Hulan narrowed her eyes and sneered. "After you got all those benefits, you know how to act innocent now that you've gotten a good deal. You must share all the information about the Star Clan's upcoming itinerary with us. If we find out you have anything hidden away, we'll definitely not be so polite with you then. Zhang Yi nodded. Of course. Do I look like a bad person? He pointed to his own face, which looked very approachable. In the shadows, King Arthur and the others observed the atmosphere and secretly grumbled to themselves. It was only after getting to know Zhang Yi that I realized physiognomy can sometimes be deceiving. Zhang Yijin revealed some details about the subsequent journey of the Starry Sky Corridor to them.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.